In this video today, I want to share with us that the Lord will use dreams in the life of a believer to perform miracles in people, if you are willing. From Acts chapter 10, look at verse 38, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Ghost and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for God was with him. Here are some scenarios. I had a young man who had AIDS, had been in the hospital for months, over 6 months, and the doctors finally gave up on him and sent him home to die. A sister called me and said, will you come and pray for my brother? He has AIDS, they've sent him home to die. I said, sure. That night I went into a prayer. It was on a Saturday. After prayers, I was in a dream. The Lord said to me, take your spit, put it inside his mouth, which was what I saw in the dream. The following day, Sunday, after church, I drove to the family home. The families were all gathered outside. And he was there, and they were having their normal after church, get together. So I walked up to him and I asked him if I could speak with him privately while everybody was outside. And so he said, yeah, sure. He knew I was coming to pray for him. So we got into the bedroom privately, away from everybody else. And I told him, this is what the Lord told me to do. He opened up his mouth. I took my spit, put it inside his mouth. And I came out and I said goodbye to everybody and left. A week later, he went back to the hospital and he was tested. Lo and behold, the person who had full-blown AIDS was now negative. The sister called up jubilating, and this is what we received from the hospital. In another scenario, I had a man who had an accident and was in coma. They had flown him to the hospital. He was in the hospital. A week later, the doctors invited the families and told them they were going to pull the plug. And so they told everybody to come and pay their last respect. They will pull the plug. That will be it. Having been in the hospital for over a week, in coma. And so I got wind of it, and I was close to the family. I finished prayers that night. I was in a dream. And in the dream, I saw myself walk into the hospital room and laid my hands on him with the tubes and everything. Once I laid my hand upon him, I said, according to the word of the Lord, he woke up. And so the following day, being the last day, they were going to pull the plug. I went to the hospital while the family was gathered. And 2 by 2, they would go up into the room to see him, give him the last respect. When it came to my turn, the family asked if I would go with somebody. I said, nah, I'll just go up there. I walked up into the room just like I saw in the dream. Laid my hands on him and said, Lord, according to your word, to let it be unto him. The moment I finished that prayer, he shook his head, swung left, right, left, right, left, right. The monitors and every other instrument that I was used to sustaining me or keeping my life just went ballistic. The monitors were buzzing. The doctors and nurses came dashing inside the room. What is going on? What is going on? When they came in, I eased myself out of the ICU and just walked away. It wasn't long. He came out of the coma. When he came out, he understood what had happened because he had the revelation of Jesus Christ. He said, this is what he saw. He was going to a place and the Lord told him, you have to go back. Simultaneously, the Lord said, go and lay your hands on him. In another scenario, I had a sister who was in a playground and went through this slide. It was coming down with the head. While somebody was at the bottom of the slide, this sister did not know. The sister took the head down and bumped into the other person who was at the bottom of the slide and had paralysis from neck down. I happened to be there when this whole event was going on. The life flight came, picked up the sister to the hospital. The doctors on diagnosis said this sister had 10% survival. I went into prayers. After prayers, I was in a dream. In the dream, I called up the sister from the house and I said, the Lord said to tell you you have been healed. So the following day in the morning, simultaneously as the doctors were making their rounds, the doctors had just got to her, used these long needles to test, see if there's any kind of movement, and there was none. Right after they finished, my call came in. And I said, this is just what I saw in the dream. I saw you dancing. After I told you this is what the Lord said, so I called and I said, the Lord said, you have been healed. I just saw you dancing. She responded, well, the doctors just came here with all their long needles and blah, blah, blah. Nothing happened. I'm still laying in the bed. No sooner she finished uttering that statement, the right leg shook, the left leg, the right, left, right, left. She stood up from the bed, just like I saw in the dream. Finally, I had another sister who had this skin cancer. I mean, just all kinds of illnesses and on the skin. And she was admitted in the hospital. I had finished prayer that night for the sister when she called up. I was in a dream the same way. The Lord said, call her up. You have been healed. The following day in the morning, I called. And I said, this is what I saw in a dream. The Lord said to tell you, you have been healed. And I hung up the phone. She said, if you see my body, well, it will only take a miracle to heal me. Because the doctors were almost ready to discharge and send her home for you know what. It was on a Sunday. The following Sunday, she took pictures when I made the phone call, and then afterwards, she traced me to the church I attended at the time, came to the church. Every skin cancer, the swellings, and everything else vanished. And her body was as smooth as a baby's body. She came with the pictures. We were having a Friday night miracle services. She walked up to me, said, hey, see when you called me, look at my body. See what happened a few days after you told me. I just came to tell you. And thank you. Went to the pastor. I eased myself out. I hope I've communicated to you. See, the Lord uses dreams. That's who He is. The dream that a believer dreams is the Lord Himself. The vision that you get is the Lord Himself. The prophecy that you prophesy is a testimony of Jesus. The vision is a testimony of Jesus. The dream is a testimony of Jesus Christ. I hope I've communicated to you. God bless you. Till next time.